So in the other videos about exponential functions, we were working on dealing with starting and multiplying by a certain amount, and then how do you deal with gaps when maybe it's multiplying every other x value or every third x value. Here we're going to work on how you can work forwards or backwards. So for example, let's say that I have an exponential function like this, where it starts right here at 100, and then I don't know some of those middle values, and then it goes to 4, and it goes to, let's do an easy number, 20, like that. And we're going to figure out some of the other missing values. We're going to work forwards and backwards here. So I know that my equation starts at 100, and then I also know what my multiplier is. If I take my second y value and divide it by my first y value, I get 0.2, okay? And so there's two different ways I can write this equation. I can say that it's 0.2 raised to the x over 4. Remember, the over 4 just comes from that it took 4 steps. Right here was a 4-step change on x, so I write x over 4. The other option, if you don't like that one, is to go y equals 100 times the 4th root of 0.2 raised to the x. And if you grab a calculator, you can actually get a number for the 4th root of 0.2. Two ways to do that. Press the math button, go down here to option 5 here, where it has that little x inside the square root. You can see there's a box on the outside. That's where you put the 4. Then there's a box on the inside. That's where you put the 0.2. Okay? And so that shows me that the 4th root of 0.2 is about 0.67. I love how much that comes up. And then you could also have done this, if you don't like using that special menu, you could also write 0.2 to the 1/4 power. Kind of like how they have the x over 4, and you see it comes out exactly the same. Okay, so, but the point of this video is how would you use that to work forwards or backwards. So let's say that I wanted to figure out what y value comes when x is 3 or when x is 5. Well, I know to go to x equals 5, I just need to multiply by what my change is. I need to multiply by the 4th root of 0.2. And so if I multiply 20 times the 4th root of 0.2, I get that value right there, 13.37. I could also have got that answer by using my equation, 100 times 0.2 raised to the x over 4. And if you notice, I just put a little 5 over 4 as my exponent because I'm looking at the x equals 5. So one way to work forwards is to just take your y value and multiply by your factor, and the other way is to use your equation. Well, if working forwards means multiplying, then working backwards means dividing. So if I take my 20 times the 4th root of 0.2, and I just change my times to a divide, that should tell me what came before. So that number right there came when x is equal to 3, so 29.91. Or I could have used my equation, replacing the exponent, the x and the exponent with a 3. Okay, so here's the key takeaway from this part, is that to work forward, you multiply. To work backwards, you divide. So forward means multiply by the factor. Backwards means divide by the factor. Okay, and we're going to use that idea to find an equation now when you don't know the y-intercept. Okay, so let's look at an example. Let's say that I know that the value of my car 5 years after I bought it is exactly $20,000. And then 6 years after I bought it, the value has dropped down to $18,000. And I want to know what was, if this really is an exponential pattern, what would be the value of the car the year that I bought it? Well, I can find my factor by taking the later y value, dividing by the earlier y value. 18 out of 20, that's 0.9. 0.9. So if I wanted to get the next year, I could just multiply by 0.9, multiply by 0.9. To work backwards, I'm just going to divide by 0.9. So I'm going to take 20,000, and I'm going to divide by 0.9. But if I divide by 0.9, that just gets me to year 4. Divide again, year 3. Divide again, year 2. Divide again, year 1. It turns out that I need to divide by it 5 times to get back to year 0. So you can type this in. So that's what it looks like on the calculator. And you get 33870.18. It's about a $33,000, almost $34,000 car back at year 0. Because what we did is we went 5 steps backwards, and so that means that we divided by our factor to the 5th power. And that gives us our initial value, 33870.18. And using that, now I can write my full equation that lets me predict the value of the car at any moment in time. There's the beginning amount, there's the amount it changes by, there's the power of x. Okay, so key idea, multiply when you're going forward, multiply by the factor, divide by the factor when you're going backwards. If you need to go multiple steps forward, you use a power, and if you want to go multiple steps backwards, you use a power. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.